June 6, 1944, D-Day. The largest amphibious invasion in history. Thousands of Allied soldiers stormed the beaches of Normandy, France, aiming to liberate Europe from Nazi control. While 5 beaches were assaulted that day, one became a name synonymous with unimaginable horror and sacrifice. Omaha Beach. This is the story of the day the ocean ran red. Codenamed Omaha, this 5-mile stretch of coastline was assigned to American forces. On paper, the plan was meticulous. In reality, it fell apart before the first boot touched the sand. As the sun rose, the men of the 1st and 29th Infantry Divisions stared at their objective. A crescent of sand dominated by steep bluffs and sheer cliffs. Atop these heights, the German 352nd Infantry Division, a battle-hardened unit, was waiting in a network of concrete bunkers, trenches, and machine gun nests, all perfectly positioned to create a kill zone. The pre-invasion naval and aerial bombardment meant to soften these defenses had been tragically ineffective. Thick clouds and the fear of hitting their own landing craft caused bombers to drop their payloads too far inland. The German positions remained almost entirely intact. As the first wave of landing craft, known as Higgins boats, chugged toward the shore, disaster struck. Strong, unexpected tides and rough seas pushed the boats off course, scattering units and throwing the carefully organized assault into chaos. Worse still, the ramps of the landing craft dropped directly into the sights of German machine guns, particularly the MG-42, a weapon nicknamed Hitler's buzzsaw for its terrifying rate of fire. Men who had traveled thousands of miles to fight were cut down in seconds, right at the water's edge. Many drowned under the weight of their gear in the churning, blood-soaked surf, never even getting a chance to fire their rifles. The first 15 minutes were a massacre. Officers and non-commissioned officers, vital for leading the charge, were among the first to fall, leaving soldiers leaderless and pinned down behind the few obstacles on the beach. For hours, the situation was desperate. The beach was a chaotic landscape of death and destruction. Wounded men cried out for medics, who themselves became targets. The bodies of the fallen were washed back and forth by the tide. The initial assault waves were effectively annihilated. From his command ship offshore, General Omar Bradley, the American commander, seriously contemplated abandoning the landing and diverting the remaining troops to other beaches. It seemed like a complete failure. But then, something extraordinary happened. Amid the chaos, small groups of soldiers, driven by sheer grit and instinct, began to improvise. They realized staying on the beach meant certain death. Led by surviving junior officers and sergeants, these scattered bands of men started to move. They used the limited cover of the seawall and beach obstacles to regroup. Instead of charging head-on into the machine gun fire, they found gullies and draws, weak points in the German defenses. They began the painstaking, terrifying climb up the bluffs. Using Bangalore torpedoes' long explosive charges, they blew gaps in the barbed wire entanglements that blocked their path. With rifles, grenades, and sheer determination, they assaulted the German bunkers from the flank and rear. Men like Brigadier General Norman Cota famously rallied the shell-shocked troops, moving along the beach under fire, telling them, "Gentlemen, we are being killed on the beaches. Let us go inland and be killed." These isolated acts of incredible bravery started to turn the tide. As more and more small groups breached the defenses, the German hold on the high ground began to crumble. They were being attacked from directions they never anticipated. By early afternoon, the flow of American soldiers was no longer just piling up on the beach. They were pushing inland. The battle was far from over, but the foothold had been established. The artery of the invasion was no longer clogged. By the end of the day, Omaha Beach was secure, but at a staggering cost. Nearly 3,000 American soldiers became casualties, killed, wounded, or missing. The sand was littered with the wreckage of war and the bodies of the brave, yet their sacrifice was not in vain. Had Omaha Beach fallen, the entire D-Day plan might have unraveled. The Utah and Omaha beachheads would have been separated, leaving the Allied forces vulnerable to a German counterattack that could have pushed them back into the sea. Today, Omaha Beach is a place of serene, solemn beauty. The American cemetery at Colville-sur-Mer overlooks the shore, its endless rows of white crosses, a silent testament to the price of freedom. Visitors walk the same sands where heroes fought and died, trying to comprehend the scale of the courage and horror that unfolded here. Omaha Beach is more than a historical battleground. It is a profound symbol of the human cost of conflict, and the incredible resilience of the human spirit in the face of impossible odds. It reminds us that victory is often forged not in grand strategies, but in the individual acts of bravery of ordinary people doing extraordinary things. Thank you for watching. If you found this story meaningful, please like, share, and subscribe for more chapters from history.